Welcome back to San Antonio and the 2018 Golf Industry Show. It's going to get very interesting on this stage here in a minute. For all of you that can't be here with us, you're going to see something very exciting. I'm joined on the stage now, Marcus Gray, the director of Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program, and Ian Joplin, a raptor technician. And Ian has a special guest.
They do.
Let's see him. How cool is that? And what's this guy's name?
This is a Harris's hawk or a bay-winged hawk.
A bay-winged hawk.
South Texas and South United States desert species of hawk that you'll find in golf courses in the southern United States.
Okay, so raptor technician, we're going to get to Marcus in a minute in the Audubon's program. Let's start with the star of the show. I asked you before we came live, this Last Chance Forever group, that it seems like an incredible name for an organization. Tell me about what your primary mission of the organization is.
Our primary goal is to help birds of prey, hawks, owls, eagles, falcons, and vultures. Birds found injured in the south central Texas area. Find them on the side of the road, in your backyard, or even on golf courses. We have people bring them into us. We try to care for them, try to keep them wild, because our ultimate goal is to get these birds back into the wild, because we think our human territories are better for sharing it with them.
So a lot of times you're getting birds in not such good condition.
Yes.
And having to make them healthy again.
Yes, sir.
And I'm assuming golf courses are a pretty good place to make them healthy. Do you occasionally get an injured bird that you bring back to a golf course? Is it a good place to bring them when they're healthy?
We've released them in the area. If they're maintained correctly, there's lots of food that are around there, big open areas, good, perfect for hunting for a hawk, especially like this bird.
How do they get hurt?
They get hurt in different ways. They get hit by car, fly into windows, and unfortunately sometimes even people shoot them.
Oh, well, we're not going to talk about that. But I know now why you got those safety glasses on. I was asking you about it earlier, and now the feathers are for sure. So with us is also Marcus Gray, the director of the Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program for Audubon International. Marcus, new to the role.
Yes.
And there's something exciting going on with Audubon International and these particular birds.
Yeah, we're very happy to have the birds here today for everybody to see, and thanks for the Last Chance Forever for coming. We're actually working with United Airlines and their Eco Skies program to relocate birds of prey from airfields to Audubon certified golf courses.
I'm sure Sully's happy about that.
Oh yes, yes, yeah. We definitely want to avoid any sort of collisions on airfields with birds of prey.
But not injured.
Correct.
How often do you find birds of prey around airports?
Oh, fairly frequently. You know, with the developed landscape, especially in the East Coast, a lot of the open habitat that's remaining, the short grassland habitat, tends to be on airfields.
No kidding.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you have these raptors. Let's bring it back to the golf course question for a second, right? I'm assuming you're a little bit familiar with what golf courses are, and maybe you've had some interaction with them. What kinds of raptors you think you're going to generally see? Are we going to see every raptor you mentioned on a golf course, or are there sometimes you see more specific ones, a hawk or a falcon or a vulture?
Pretty much you're mostly going to see the hawks, the falcons, and the vultures. Hawks, falcons, and vultures. However, if you're lucky, if there's a lot of water, it's possible you could see an eagle. They're fishing birds, bald eagles. Okay. So it's possible you could see that. And you might not see them during the day, but there's definitely owls that are living in those territories as well.
Are there times of the year you see them more than others?
Around here in South Texas, you'll see them more in the spring and the fall during the migration. They're passing through. And a lot of times they take a break. They'll rest for a few days in a location if there's a good food source. So while there might not be that many birds here year-round, there'll be a lot of birds passing through and stopping to rest along the way.
Exactly.
So they're migrating. Where are they going? Where are they coming from? Where are they heading?
They're coming from the northern United States. They sometimes come here to Texas and even go past us into Mexico and all the way to South America.
No kidding. Okay, so they're coming to golf courses. What can golf courses do to be a good hangout place for them while they're heading somewhere else? You opening up a nightclub? You got a pinball machine? What are these birds going to be doing while they're there?
Yeah, so anything you can do to maintain a more naturalized area, you know, letting grass grow long, maintaining snags. You know, a lot of these owls and kestrels
dead trees.
Yes, they're cavity nesters. So anything you can do to provide prey, you know, brush piles and out-of-way areas where you can maintain rabbits and squirrels and everything else that these and small birds that a lot of these birds are preying upon. So these guys,
okay, so they're eating small mammals, and
yes,
I was told we cannot demonstrate that on stage because we'll all get hauled off if we do it. When we are managing these landscapes for the food source for these birds, is it I mean, it seems like we don't have any problem having these rodents and things that these guys want to eat on the golf course. Are there things that they would find on a golf course maybe they shouldn't be eating?
No, I wouldn't.
No,
No, I wouldn't.
They're
think
doing
so,
pretty
no.
good. So
Yeah.
in general, golf courses are excellent habitats.
Oh
for them.
yes, yeah.
And do we see a high population of these birds on golf courses? Do they? I would imagine in an urban area with a dearth or a lack of green space, it's going to make them very popular there.
It is, but then I'm sure you can speak to it more, Ian. But some of the birds like red-tailed hawks are very territorial, and so you have a pair that'll sort of claim a golf course. It kind of makes it hard for others to move in. But I didn't know if you had anything you want to add.
The ones you'll see large numbers of are the vultures, especially the black vultures. They're colony birds. There's a big tower nearby. Up to 100 of them can be colonized on there, and you'll see groups of them in sometimes packs of 30 or 40 I've seen flying over an area as they're looking for food. And they use the hot air rising up. And so golf courses with the open area where the sun can warm up the ground is a good area for the vultures to circle around and thermal up to get height so they can travel long distances.
Ah, right, because then they don't have to work as hard the higher up
Exactly.
they are.
Right.
Okay, so I would imagine as they're migrating, stopping is going to be important. How long are these guys flying in a day? Do you know?
I don't know. They can travel hundreds of miles a day.
Yeah.
Hundreds of miles a day. And what kind of shape is this guy in? How old? Tell me a little bit about, what's his name?
We don't give them names
No
because we
names.
don't want people to think of them as pets. These are still wild animals. But this
Very
is
good clarification. Thank you for that. He does not look warm and cuddly. I
No.
will say that.
They don't
So-
like to be touched.
So he is what kind of a bird?
A bay-winged hawk, also known as a Harris's hawk. Both names
Harris's
are
hawk.
correct.
You got him tied up there, so
I have
we
some
won't-
Jesses, they're falconry equipment.
Right. Now, of course, all the Philadelphia people in town think that's the eagle, and we're all excited about that particular thing. How old is he? How
About
old is it?
3 years old. It's a younger bird. It was found in the South Texas area. Somebody tried to raise it, and it's not that they didn't care, but they didn't know how to correctly raise it. It's very hard to keep these birds wild.
So let's get to that.
Yeah.
What are we doing in the sanctuary program to work with organizations? Because, he's in Texas, we're in
Yep.
New York, there's places all over. These birds are in the contiguous, it's all throughout North America. This isn't a bird that's endangered necessarily.
No, not necessarily, but a lot of superintendents, if they find an injured raptor or any bird really on their course, there's a network of local wildlife rehabilitators that they go to. They go to professionals that are trained to work with these birds. It's not just someone keeping them in their kitchen in a cardboard box. They're actually working with these birds all the time, full time. Like Ian. So he'd be a good person to call in this part of Texas. It's similar to fawns. People, they find a baby fawn and they think it's been abandoned and they want to help it, but they end up doing more harm than good. The best thing to do is leave it alone.
There you go.
But,
This is good advice.
Yeah.
This is good advice. So how long will they live? It's 3. How long will they live, and do they like to go back to the same place?
Sometimes they'll breed in the same areas generally. It depends on their size. The smaller birds will live about 10 years, where eagles can live up into their 60s and 70s. This bird, though, most of them, 85% of the juveniles do not make it to adulthood. It's very hard learning how to fly and how to hunt. And that's a lot of the birds that we receive in our center are young birds learning how to make it, who make a mistake. And if they're in a total wild situation, those birds would be dead. But when people are able to find them and bring them to us and care for them, we're able to give them a last chance to get back into the wild.
And so I'm sure the Cooperative Sanctuary Program, in and amongst all the sort of encouraging of wildlife they bring in, have probably told stories of raptors that either are resident or keep coming back all the time.
Yes. So as part of this raptor relocation network that we've got going with the airlines, there's a form and a site visit associated with that where the superintendents and I will go around and we'll make note of birds that they do see on a regular basis to try to get an idea of what the populations might be. Because if we do move a bird to a golf course, we want to see, do they stay around? How far do they move? These birds will be banded. They're coming from the airfield. So we'll get a better idea, research-wise, as what's the likelihood that they go back to the airport? Do they stick around?
Right.
Do they release
So
at a
you're
golf
tagging
course?
them.
Do they leave? Yes.
Very
you have
good.
leg bands similar to.
And it's, I tell you, it's refreshing to hear someone say, wow, golf course is a good place for this.
Right.
Because that is not in the public psyche. Now, we got this guy, but I don't want to say we don't need to have him much longer because he's not going to be happy about it. You have another guest that we want to talk about
Yes, I
as
do.
well. How do you want to make that change? He's going to leave. See ya.
Yes, sir.
Yep, we got another guy under here. This is the best part of the day. Look at this guy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No names.
No names.
Not pets.
Nope, they're not pets.
This
These are
is
still
really
wild
a
animals.
wonderful message, right? Because I can tell you, I'm married to an animal lover.
Yep.
She sees a deer, and it's like, oh boy. And I do think it's a good reminder. Get people who know what they're doing. don't run out and try to make this thing into your pet. Now, who's this guy?
This is a Screech Owl. Now, if you look them up, you're mostly going to see a gray bird. This is a red-faced Screech Owl. It's not a different species. It's just a recessive trait like blue eyes in humans. It actually has a sibling that came in with him that is the gray phase. So you can have the same parents produce the two different colors.
No kidding.
And it's their camouflage. Around here in South Texas, we have a lot of gray-barked trees. So the gray phase is more common. But if you go to East Texas, they have redwoods and pine needles that'll turn red. And this red phase Screech Owl becomes a lot more common.
So these are raptors as well?
Yes.
How old?
This bird is probably about 5 or 6 years old.
What? How big is it going to get?
It's fully grown. They grow to their full size in just 6 weeks, all the way up to eagles.
So I don't want to say the word I'm going to say, but that's a bad dude, right? For being that little. It's not like he's scaring away that other guy that was here.
They're very tough. They have to be to survive. They're one of the fiercest birds we deal with.
No kidding. So again, let's go to the golf course.
Yep.
I mean, is it a general term to say this is, raptors work on golf courses, or is this bird in particular maybe different than that bird? Are these guys migrating as well?
Not so much. They tend to stick around. They like to live around people, though, because their favorite thing to eat are roaches.
Really?
Yes. Yep.
So they'd be very popular in New York and on the basement floor of Cornell University where my office is. We got a little bit of a roach, but obviously roaches outside?
Sometimes they like to live usually in someone's just backyard.
No kidding.
They'll hunt little insects, they'll hunt small rodents and lizards.
So they're well adapted to urban space.
Yes, very
now,
much so.
are these birds you're going to find on the air at the airports as well?
Yeah, they could be, but more likely to find on a golf course. And they make lower flights than a lot of the birds that tend to be an issue with airline traffic. But these are a bird that you actually, on a golf course, construct a nest box for.
No kidding.
Yep, and so you could even have a camera in there and watch them to go through their life cycle, raising their chicks and everything. It'd be a good outreach opportunity.
And so that's right. Audubon provides all those techniques for helping not only encourage them, but monitor them and then communicate about them. Of course, this has been the great thing about Audubon and golf for all these years, because we all know from walking around a golf course, the space for these birds is just incredible, especially in urbanized areas. These birds have adapted to evolve with us in some ways, right?
They fill the niche that the cities provide. We got rid of the large predators, but the raptors can fly over our heads, so they can come in and fill those niches where there's food available that a wolf or a coyote can't really get around in.
What about competition between that guy and this guy?
There is that. This bird,
because again, a little guy, but you know, he's a badass.
Pretty different habitats in a lot of ways. Yeah, right.
He'll spend the night hiding in a tree using that camouflage, looking like the bark of a tree, and then when he's out at night, the hawk can't see him.
Okay. How do they feel about this, being around people like this?
They see just, we have to teach them to be comfortable around people, but they are comfortable during the day. They can see just fine. People think that they're blind during the day, but they see just fine during the day.
Owls see fine during the day. So why do we associate them with the evening so much?
Because that's how they're designed to hunt. They're not very fast or agile like a hawk or falcon. They're designed to fly silently. Their wings make no sound. They're especially designed to make no sound when they flap their wings. And that allows them to ambush their prey without them ever knowing it was coming.
Okay, ambush a roach, ambush a little rodent.
Either or.
They'll take rodents as well.
Oh, yeah.
But the big guys don't eat bugs.
They can. They'll eat little things like a grasshopper or a locust flying through the air. They can catch them. It's not going to give them very much energy, but it can make do if there's nothing else to find.
And there's a large migration of insects, and they'll key in on that source.
So again, they'll be resident. So housing them and paying attention to them, unlike the raptors, which even if you get them off the airport, eventually you know they're going to depart, right? They're not going to stay resident on the golf course.
I mean, for the most part, if it's during migration, like Ian was saying, they're most likely going to move on. But we have resident hawks as well in a lot of the country, like red-tailed hawks are resident in a lot of the country.
And just stay on the golf course all the time.
Right.
Same for this guy.
Yep, and I can teach you how to identify this bird without ever seeing it. It makes a distinct call that sounds like this. It goes...
This is so great. Bird calls on GCSAA TV Live. We're wrapping up here on the stage with Last Chance Forever Raptor technician Ian Joplin, Marcus Gray from the director of Audubon Cooperative Sanctuary Program. I'm Frank Rossi. This is GCSAA TV Live from San Antonio, brought to you in partnership with Lebanon Turf. We're so glad that you're not here to be scared by these birds, but I can tell you it's been quite a thrill to be this close. We'll be back in a minute after this break.